Hello, humans. Welcome to episode 5 of the New Noise Podcast. I am your host, Ben Ellis.
And I am your co-host, Connor Craig.
Today, we are going to talk about some underrated albums and some underrated bands that we listen to. We think they don't get enough recognition. Recently, I turned Connor on to a band called...
Ben turned me on.
Yeah, I turned him on. Turned him right on.
To
a band called Refused, hardcore punk band from Sweden. I purchased their Shape of Punk to Come album on vinyl, and then I passed it on to Connor to borrow, and he fell in love with it right away. Tell us about your experience with it, man.
Yeah, you gave me the album, I think, like 2 weeks ago, or almost, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I checked it out, and it's crazy how much they influenced what came in the early 2000s.
Yeah, unreal.
I was like, holy shit, like this sounds like the stuff that came out then.
Yeah.
And then they put out a new album in 2015, I think, called Freedom.
Yeah, Freedom, yeah.
And that's a fucking really good record too.
Yes. Apparently their hardcore fan base didn't like it as much though, because it was kind of more produced, and it wasn't.
There are some moments where they use effects and they do stuff, and obviously it's a little more produced, but they use it properly, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think
it's done really well.
Me too. Like the first 3 songs are so good.
Oh,
on both records.
Yeah. I can listen to both records back to back.
Yeah.
Like that's what I found myself doing, just putting on like Apple Music or whatever and just going right to the records and just listening to them back and back.
Yeah, I think they have about 4 records, but their first 2 are really like punky and hardcore. They aren't as good as the Shape of Punk to Come.
I'll check them out.
Yeah, no, I have.
Because this is too good. These two albums are so good. I have to check them out. I will. I'll definitely be looking to get them on vinyl for sure. Yeah, because
there is some good songs on the earlier albums. There's one song called "Rather Be Dead." They played it live when I saw Deftones. Unreal.
Yeah. So Refused, the Shape of Punk to Come.
Yes, and Freedom.
Freedom. Yes.
Check out those 2 albums. And that band, they're really underrated. So the next underrated band we would like to talk about is Baroness. Baroness is a metal band from Savannah, Georgia. Really good band. They've been around for about 10-15 years now. I recently got into them in 2015. They put out an album called Purple. And from front to back, it's one of the best metal records I've heard over the past 10 years. Just a really, really good record. Mixes Mastodon, that type of progressive metal sound, with like Radiohead melodies and piano, and sometimes there's synth and stuff. It's some really cool stuff on that record. So check it out. It's called Purple. And then they have a record double album before that one called Yellow and Green. It's more accessible. It's got some softer stuff on it. Still some heavy stuff on it as well. There's a good mix. So check out Baroness, their albums Purple and Yellow and Green. All right, we're moving on. Next band, Peeping Tom.
Peeping Tom is a project created by Mike Patton, who's been in Faith No More, Fantomas, Mr. Bungle, Tomahawk, and a whole whack of other stuff. We were talking about his Italian opera solo album he did, but it's all covers of Italian opera.
Yeah.
Anyways, Peeping Tom is like his version of pop music. Apparently, he said, like, I don't listen to the radio and pop music, but if I did, this is how I'd want it to sound.
Cool.
And so the whole album is like this trip hop, dark fucking party music kind of.
So
and
is it
sexy too.
Is it similar to Crosses?
Yes, I would say it's got a similar vibe, but weirder.
Okay, so
you
like
know how
Mike Patton
can get. Sometimes it's unsubtle, like it's unnerving. It's
but not as intense as like Tomahawk.
Yes, like Tomahawk is like thrashy, like rock, like punk rock or whatever. Where this is like literally like clubby kind of music and stuff like that. I know that Massive Attack's on it. Norah Jones is on it.
Oh, I thought you said Attack for a second.
Attack.
Terrible band.
That's a band to talk about. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so that's a great album. They only have one project, and it's fantastic. It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
It's just called Peeping Tom?
Peeping Tom, yep, self-titled. It's the same title.
All right, moving on to the next artist. This may be debatable, but we think that Sir Elton John is very underrated as an artist. One of his albums that is really underrated is called Honky Chateau. It's got Rocket Man on it, which is probably one of his most well-known songs.
Yeah.
And then it's got a song. The song that kicks it off is called Honky Cat. And it's about like rednecks, and he's gonna take his celebrity ways and get rid of the redneck in him and do all this stuff, and it's really cool. But the song you really like is "I Think I'm Gonna Kill Myself."
Yeah. I remember my buddy Ian showing me that album one time. He pulled it out in his vinyl collection, and he was like, "Yeah, just check this out." And it was one morning, and I was like, "What the fuck is? How is this Elton John? It's so cool." Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying Elton John hasn't been cool,
Yeah.
but it's just raw,
Yeah.
and it's dark, and it's like, I don't know. I just never heard that side of him. Right?
Yeah, it's basically a show tune about how he's gonna kill himself.
Yeah, and it's like a jingle. It sounds all
Yeah.
like positive, but it's literally about suicide, and it's like,
Yeah,
it's really fucking, really creepy.
he was definitely, well, not overshadowed by artists in the 70s, but sometimes he's overlooked because, the rock stars. When you think of rock stars, you don't think of Elton John, but he was one of the biggest rock stars and partiers back in the day, apparently.
Yeah, I think what happens too is, like Elton John is fantastic, but he doesn't write his own lyrics.
No.
So that might be one reason why people don't
respect him as much.
Maybe that could be argued, I guess. But I mean, he's fucking fantastic.
One thing, the piano is just, it might be my favorite sounding instrument of all time. It's just the way that he plays it too. Is just something about it that, a lot of artists don't play the piano like Elton John can. That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
And he just rocks the piano on every song.
His voice is fantastic.
Yes, his voice has gotten a bit deeper with age.
Which that's cool.
Yeah.
There's a song called Wake Up Wendy, which is on the South Park, one of the South Park soundtracks.
Yeah.
Where it's called Chef's Aid, the soundtrack. And it's just a whole whack of artists. And Elton John's on a song called Wake Up Wendy, and it's so fucking good. Check it out. It's wicked.
Did he record it specifically
for like Trey Parker wrote the lyrics, and Elton John got together with him, and they wrote this song. So it's like, it's in the episode, Stan gives the lyrics to Elton John, and Elton John makes a song out of it.
The weird thing is, the first time I remember Elton John, like as a kid, was because he dedicated that "Candle in the Wind" song to Princess Diana, who died. So I didn't know him as a rock star. I just thought he was like this old man. So we're moving on now to underrated albums by some of our favorite artists. First up, it's Faith No More with 1995's "King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime." One of my favorite albums from them. Really eccentric album, really all over the place. Lots of styles. 1 minute it'll be in-your-face metal. The next it's a country song.
Next is punk rock. Like the first song is so metal punk. Like
Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah, that's such a great song.
It's so good.
You can definitely hear the System.
System of a Down influencing.
No, Faith No More influencing.
Was influencing them. Yeah, of course.
If you listen to that and you didn't know it was Faith No More, you'd probably say, "Hey, is that System?" Because it sounds
the
sounds
gentle
so
art of making enemies.
Yeah,
is probably the song I've shown people, and they're like, "This is where System kind of came from."
Yeah, it's just so good.
Star AD.
That's a good one.
Is
too.
one of my all-time favorite Faith No More songs.
That's the one where it starts like.
It's like a show.
Yeah.
A little joke that's understood.
Yeah.
It's all over the world. Like, it's so show tunies.
And then there's like a country western song called "Take This Bottle."
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's just like takes you back to the 50s or something in a country western movie. Just a guy all depressed because his woman left him, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of... People didn't like that about the album, though, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it wasn't like... Faith No More were known as kind of a heavy band, right?
Yeah.
And that album, they ventured into like every kind of style imaginable, like jazz and country and a bit of hip hop and stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as well received, and that's why it's on this list of underrated albums.
Yeah. Cuckoo for Kaka.
Yeah.
That's an insane... Now, Faith No More has the lead singer we were talking about before, Mike Patton or whatever. And just so you guys know, if you ever get a chance to listen to Cuckoo for Kaka, it sounds like he's a fucking zombie in the song, like his screaming and everything. And he actually got the part as the voice acting for the zombies in the Left 4 Dead games and I Am Legend.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like you can hear, that's an early sign of hearing him sound like basically a zombie, even though that song's hilarious.
Yeah, the album after that, what was that called?
Is that Album of the Year?
Yes.
Yes.
That one wasn't as good.
No, it's still good, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's not as good as King for a Day.
Yeah. So I
And
definitely
Angel Dust is a classic.
classic. Definitely
well.
not underrated.
No,
However, I'm not a huge fan of.
Angel Dust.
No, not. I love Angel Dust. I'm not a fan of the one with Epic on it.
Fucking.
It's the first one.
Oh,
with-
the real thing. The
Yeah,
real thing. There
yeah.
are some really good songs on the real thing.
Yeah.
There are, but yeah, it's dated. Like,
Yeah,
you'll,
and Mike Patton sounds like he's trying to be like someone else.
he's really young too
Yeah.
in it, right? Like I feel like they matured a bit more after that.
Yeah.
And it was silly. The music was a lot sillier
Yeah,
then.
apparently some of it was written before he joined the band too.
Yeah, because he was just joining. Because there was 2 albums
Yeah.
prior to him.
which were terrible.
Yeah, where it was a different singer and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
first album on our underrated list, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime by Faith No More. Next up on our most underrated albums from our favorite artist, we have Year Zero by Nine Inch Nails. Came out in 2007. The follow up to With Teeth, which was a more direct rocky record, whereas Year Zero was just full on techno, basically.
yeah, and like
Concept album as well.
concept album about the world coming to an end.
Yep.
And like the apocalypse, and the music really shows that. Like
Yeah.
the techno techie side he took is like super dark,
Yeah.
and he gets into like a little bit of like the dubstep sound.
Yeah, that was dubstep before it became popular.
Yeah,
But there's like he hinted on that in some songs on like the Downward Spiral. It was like really bassy and like
yeah,
songs like the Becoming and stuff. But then the Great Destroyer on the Year Zero,
yeah. That
just
one's
a
just nuts. So,
mind blower.
but there are fans that they didn't even like the album before it with Teeth. They weren't already a fan of that because it felt like it was getting too mainstream. Where Nine Inch Nails wasn't always mainstream. And so some of the old fans didn't like that. But then even though there were still fans and he won new fans with Teeth, Year Zero, I think a lot of people didn't fully understand.
Yeah.
A lot of Nine Inch Nails fans do respect it. There is a following, don't get me wrong. But as a whole, it's a fantastic record.
I think it's going to be recognized later down the road as one of the first albums that really showed that electronic side of like that craziness you could go to.
Yeah.
And then just kind of influence that dubstep kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the lyrics are fucking phenomenal
Yeah.
too. It's nice to hear. It's actually refreshing because it's a political record, and to be honest, it stands to like it kind of speaks to what's going on today.
Yeah.
It was much about like during the George Bush administration and all that shit, and so like there was a lot of talk about that, but it was refreshing to hear Trent Reznor sing about not just like having feelings about like depression and
Yeah.
falling apart and all that kind of shit.
Where
and
that's
more
why
about-
I liked With Teeth, because some of the songs were happier sounding and
Yeah, it was you were overcoming.
yes.
Like the music prior to With Teeth was like you were falling apart, and
Yeah.
then I feel like With Teeth was like he's picking himself back up because obviously he quit drugs and alcohol
Yeah.
and everything like that. So and he didn't want to. He was suicidal at one point. But yeah, Year Zero is fantastic lyrically. Saul Williams, the poet and rapper, does backup vocals and survivalism.
Yeah.
Fantastic song. Every song, God Given, is one of my all-time favorite Nine Inch Nails songs.
Yeah.
I fucking adore that song.
There's a lot of good remixes of songs from Year Zero as well.
Yeah, there's a whole remix album,
Yeah.
and we were talking about that
Yeah.
a
But
while
there's
back.
even some like fan made remixes.
Yeah,
of-
what he did is he put up on the site all the pieces to the song
Yeah.
that you could take yourself, and so fans could remix it. So it was professionally done, where he gave everyone the rights to,
Yeah.
which was really cool.
There's this one called Beyond This Twilight.
Yeah,
That's just unreal.
yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the popular ones.
So, another underrated album from one of our favorite artists, Nine Inch Nails, Year Zero. So the next underrated album we're going to talk about is Oceania by the Smashing Pumpkins. Came out in 2012. Smashing Pumpkins were huge in the 90s. They had a lot of big albums, most notably Gish, Siamese Dream, Melancholy, and The Infinite Sadness was their last big one. Then they released Adore and Machina 1 and 2, which were widely panned by critics as not good. And then he released something in 2007 called Zeitgeist with the original drummer from the Pumpkins. It was good, but it wasn't that good. And then Oceania came. He got all new band members and everything, and he just kind of went into the studio and made this new record, and it just felt like Pumpkins without ripping it off, and it feels really modern, and I really, really like it, and I have to thank Connor for turning me onto it.
Woohoo! Yeah.
When did you discover that record, or when it first came out, did you
Yeah,
start
that's
listening
what
to it?
happened. So, I've always really liked Smashing Pumpkins, but I'm not like a diehard fan. I've always like the hits are so good.
Yeah.
I had their greatest hits. I had Melancholy, and
Yeah.
I had their greatest hits when I was younger, and my
Yeah.
dad kind of tried to get me into them, and I was like, this is really good stuff. But I didn't get to dive into much of their other stuff. So I remember when Zeitgeist came out, I
Yeah.
listened to that, and that was a huge disappointment. There's one song called Stars on it,
Yeah.
great song, but anyway. So I never really looked into them anymore. Once I heard their newest record at the time, I was like, whatever, I'm done. But then this album came out. I saw it at the record store, and I just went home and was like, I'll give it a try. And I was super surprised that it wasn't talked about as much because it's like you were saying, it's so well put together, and it's like it's not him trying to be Smashing Pumpkins and what they were. It's just refreshing and new
Yeah.
sounds reused.
Yeah, that's the one thing I love about Smashing Pumpkins is each one of their records is so sonically different. So this one, it just kind of incorporates a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't hear on past Pumpkins record, like synthesizers, and it almost sounded like Muse at times on that
Yep.
record. It's just like this anthemic, just feel good.
A lot of acoustic. I
Yeah,
like too.
yeah,
I like acoustic Billy Corgan.
yeah. He's good at writing those types of songs.
Yeah.
All right, so there's another one to check out, Oceania by Smashing Pumpkins. Next up, it's a live record from 2000, the Mark, Tom, and Travis Show, The Enema Strikes Back. By Blink 182, one of our favorite live records of all time, just really shows the band firing on all cylinders, and it's so funny, all the bonus little tracks and commentary that are thrown in throughout the
Yeah.
album. Really makes it a great listen.
Yeah, I always think that that's a great sound and a great example, sorry, of what Blink-182 was at one point.
Yeah,
When they were like just having fun, not taking themselves too serious. They weren't writing a lot of sad songs yet. They were just fucking bunch of losers that couldn't. They made fun of themselves for not playing music correctly. Travis Barker, you get to hear songs that weren't done by Travis Barker played on the live album, which is a nice, refreshing sound.
yeah,
The songs are played faster. And,
yeah,
like
way
Damn It, I love Damn It live on Mark Tom and Travis show way more than I do the studio.
I like all the songs from that era,
Yeah,
like better on that album,
yeah,
because they just have this fierceness and this. They're just so locked in.
yeah. And the comedy, like Tom and Mark are fucking unreal on stage together. It really showed that at one point those two were like best of friends,
Yeah.
and they were hilarious, and they didn't take themselves too serious. But yeah, what a fantastic record! I'll never forget that record. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
It's pre-serious Blink, and it captures a great moment in their legacy. So
lastly, we have Plastic Beach by the Gorillaz. Came out in 2010. The album that introduced me to the Gorillaz, got me into them. Just an awesome album. A lot of electronic sounds, a lot of soothing sounds on it. Snoop Dogg is on it, Lou Reed. Just a really, really cool album. I don't know too much about the Gorillaz, but I love Plastic Beach. Connor, tell us a bit more about this album.
Well, I knew Demon Days pretty well. That's their biggest record, of course. And Plastic Beach still is like known, and it still like did well. But there are people that are just like, oh, it was like not as good as Demon Days, and that's where I think I disagree. I think it's at least it deserves to be just as good as Demon Days, and the album's just constantly changing. Every song is completely different, but somehow they all mix in together.
Yeah,
And it just takes you on this insane journey that artists just don't do.
yeah,
Where you got Snoop Dogg, like we were talking about, those artists all in one album. You sound crazy when you say that.
yeah.
But Damon Albarn, who does Gorillaz, Blur, and a whole his solo work and all that stuff, he's the guy behind the Gorillaz, and somehow he is so good at taking artists and putting them in his music, and it actually being amazing. like Melancholy Hills on this like album. This is a fantastic album with great songs. One of our favorites is
Empire Ants.
Empire Ants. Reminds you of like Floyd or something.
Yeah.
And the girl singer is just gorgeous in it, right?
Yeah.
Little Dragon is, I guess, the artist's name.
Stilo.
Stilo.
That's a great tune.
Yeah, and obviously their artwork comes. I have.
So now we would like to discuss bands that you either love or that you hate. Kicking off the list, we're going to talk about Rush. Personally, Rush is one of my favorite bands. One of the best rock bands of all time, but people seem to hate them because of Geddy Lee's voice, which is understandable, but I think that Geddy Lee's voice just transformed beautifully over the years, and he sung what he can, and when he gets older, he doesn't try and scream like he did on the earlier records because he can't, he learned how to sing. So that's my opinion on it. What do you think about Geddy Lee's voice?
I think he's got a great voice. I know it's not for everyone though, and so that's why anyone that doesn't like Rush, I'm never like, oh fuck you. It's more just like,
Yeah.
you're not listening to that. If you can't handle the voice, it's hard to get into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not something you can put aside and be like, oh, well, I don't like Geddy Lee's voice, but I can listen to the rest of it and respect it. Well, that's hard for some people, right?
Yeah.
But they're fucking unreal, these guys.
Yeah, you have to respect them.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. If you think Rush sucks, well, then that's a different story.
They're behind, I think it's only the Beatles and the Rolling Stones for most gold and platinum albums.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They have like over 20 studio albums, man.
Yeah.
Which is unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, they're crazy. And they just retired, right?
Yeah, which I've seen them 4 times live. So.
I've seen them once.
Yeah.
4 times. Holy shit.
Yeah. Just, that's why they're one of my favorite bands of all time. They're one of the first bands I saw in concert, and they just blew me away, man.
Yeah. But yeah, people don't like the music. It's not always Geddy Lee's voice either. It's the music as well,
That's
right?
too.
Some people like mainstream.
They have mainstream stuff, but a lot of it is progressive. Like, you can't delve into it.
Yeah.
Girls don't like Rush either.
It's not. No, it's not.
It's not for the ladies.
I mean, some girls do, but it's not always for. They are known as like guys that fucking
nerdy
guys love Rush. So
yeah. So whether you love or you hate Rush, you gotta respect them because they were one of the hardest working and hardest rocking bands of the last 40 years.
With crazy stories and their documentary.
Yeah, check out Beyond the Lighted Stage. If you haven't seen that documentary, it's a wonderful look into the career of Rush. They actually have another documentary that documented their last tour called Time Stands Still.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that one yet, but I gotta check it out. Next band you either love or you hate them, The Police. Now, Connor and I are divided over this. Connor doesn't understand why I don't like The Police.
Yeah.
And I haven't delved into any of their albums. I've only heard their hits, which I think they're terrible. I don't like any of them. I don't know if Sting's British or Jamaican or what's going on, and I've never been able to get into them. But Connor says that Synchronicity is a really good album to check out since I don't know them.
Yeah, and I not just Synchronicity is a fantastic album. I got it. I had to use thrift store or whatever for cheap or whatever, and that's how I found out about the record. I was like, whatever, it cost me like $4. I'm getting it, and I got all their discography on vinyl.
Nice.
All in one day at a used thrift shop. It was a couple years before vinyl blew up. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, Synchronicity is a fantastic album. Many rock lovers, check it out because they did influence a lot. And there's some surprises on the album too, where you would like, how does this even sound like the fucking Police? One song called Mother, which isn't even sung by Sting. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, well, Rush, we were just talking about Rush. They were hugely influenced by the Police.
Were they?
They they did a whole new wave / reggae. They had a whole bunch of stuff. Rush just tied that into their sound.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to the Spirit of Radio, in the middle there's that reggae breakdown.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you checked out their later or mid 80s material, but there's a lot of new wavy moments on it.
Yeah.
And they were huge fans of the Police and other bands like that. So.
Yeah. But the Police are funny because their hits are Roxanne's a great song. I think it's a great song.
Repetitive.
And it is. That's the thing. I think one of the problems for you is that you've heard it your whole life, and it's just the same 5.
That's the thing. I haven't
4 or 5
delved
hits.
into them, so I can't.
Message in a Bottle.
Yeah.
Don't Stand So Close to Me. I don't know if you've heard that one, but Sting was a teacher.
Yeah.
before he was a artist,
Oh, and that's what that
and
song's
that
about?
song's about like the stress of like girls hitting on him. Literally, like the stress of like
Weird.
young girls like fucking, and like how stressful that was on him, because it was like, I think he was like a high school teacher and they were like grade 12 girls,
Yeah.
like
My least favorite song from them is a goo goo goo, a ga ga ga.
yeah, I get that. I get that one. Like I said, I'm not like a huge Police fan,
Yeah.
but I do like their music.
They have some stuff that's worth listening to, is what you're
and
saying.
I always say Every Breath You Take is the weirdest, creepiest song ever
Oh, yeah.
written.
Me
If you
too.
listen to the lyrics, every breath you take,
Every
every
move
move
you
you
make,
make, every
vow you break, every smile you something, I'll be watching
I'll be
you.
watching you, and the whole, yeah. Why can't you see?
You belong.
You belong
Yeah.
to me. Like it's just really stalker creepy shit.
Yeah, but people think of it as like a lovey-dovey song.
Well, P Diddy took
Yeah.
the song and made
Puff
it.
Daddy. He was Puff Daddy at the time.
Oh, at the time.
When Notorious B.I.G. died.
Yes, and he dedicated the whole song to him and wrote his own parts in it
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah. Anyways, Police is a band that I guess is hated.
Maybe I'm the only one who hates
Maybe
them.
Ben's the only one.
But you either love them or you hate them. I think other people feel that way. I hope they do. Next up on either you love them or you hate them, we have Nickelback.
Woo!
Most people hate them. That's all people seem to talk about. Nickelback sucks. Whenever you compare music to something, you say, oh, this is shittier than Nickelback. Or, oh, I think that Nickelback plays better than this.
Nickelback has now become like the band to Nickelback's even better than you.
Yeah.
Man. That's the sad part, is like those guys are probably really talented musicians. I've heard moments.
They put on a good live show.
Yeah, they do put on a good live show. I remember hating Nickelback when it was like not like they were huge and
Yeah.
everyone liked them at a certain time. When they blew up, I remember being like,
when like Creed was popular and stuff.
I can't stand that kind of. The only person I can handle doing that vocal, that sound, is Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
Like where it's that kind of. And I know it's not always like that. I know Chad doesn't always sing like that, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Nickelback at all.
I feel like they have a few good songs on the album that made them big, Silver Side Up. I will admit I got that album for my birthday when it came out. It had
Right
like
on.
an eye with a tear coming out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Never
again, How You Remind Me,
Yep, those are decent songs.
Too Bad. Too bad, too bad.
Too bad.
Yeah. It was one of the singles off of that album.
Oh,
But I will say the past like 3 or 4 albums, it's so safe and studio friendly. Like, well, not studio friendly, but it's overproduced.
yeah.
And they come out with the same formula. They release a heavy, pump up, energetic, riffy song first. Then they release the ballad. And then they release like a mix of that. And they've been doing that for like 10 years now. And it's so predictable.
And it's making them fucking a lot of money.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I've gotten to, because they are like so hated now. I try not to like, I don't put up a fuss about it. I'm like, a lot of people don't like them anymore. You know what I mean? Like they were big, they were huge at one point, and they still are huge. I'm not.
I just sneezed. Sorry.
Ben, would you stop sneezing while I'm talking, please? No, but they're still huge. They still sell out shows constantly.
They
They're one of the biggest
records.
rock bands going.
Yep.
And somehow, much like a lot of the bands we're going to talk about, even though they're fucking huge, that also means that means there's a lot of people that hate them too.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. And whenever you go on like chat forums or a website like Ultimate Guitar, there's always Nickelback articles. And it's basically what we're doing right now, just explaining the pros and cons of Nickelback and why people hate them.
Yeah.
Where some people say they do have some good stuff, but lately they just put out the same formulaic garbage. And I think that's why I don't like them. Not because of their or because Chad Kroger's ugly as hell.
Yo, I like the band, but Chad Kroger's ugly, so I'm not listening.
I'm not listening to his music. No, but I just think their music, when it comes down to it, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
It's just mediocre, formulaic stuff I don't like about music.
Yeah.
So, whether you love or hate Nickelback, I'm not going to judge you, but we hate them. Up next, we have U2. Oh, this is going to be a good conversation.
Oh man.
Because Connor and I, at times in our lives, we've really liked U2, and we think that they're really great musicians and they put out some good records. But every time we were watching some videos from their past on YouTube before this podcast,
Yeah.
and it was just like Bono in particular. It's just like the image they had on some of their albums and just the stuff they tried to do. It's just like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
And the music sometimes and the image, it's just cringeworthy. Like we had a hard time watching it.
Yeah. It was really cringy. Like they
Yeah.
were wearing like gas masks or some. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like some pot on their head or some.
Yeah, and the Edge was wearing like a cowboy hat, and he had like handlebars. And,
And Bono's
Bono,
in a full leather like.
he looked like Fred Durst. He had like for the first part, he had like a hoodie thing,
Oh yeah.
and then throughout the show, he would just like strip down to like Adidas like track pants and like windbreakers and stuff, and then by like Where the Streets Have No Name by the encore, he was like in a wife beater on the ground, just going like,
Yeah.
like only Bono would.
Yeah. But okay, so with U2, we have, like we were saying, they have put out great material. Obviously, we've talked about the Joshua Tree, Uktung Baby, uh, all that you can,
All that you can leave behind.
and How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Yes.
Those would be the main ones. Of course, War is
Yeah.
considered on there. But the other records we're not a fan of.
No.
The newer one that came out, No Line on the Horizon has some good shit, but not a solid record.
Yes. Apparently, some of these records, you have to listen to them, though. My dad, he likes U2, and I've talked to him about it, and he says you got to listen to them 5 or 10 times, and you will find that there is some good stuff on them.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the problem with U2 is that there was a period there with when Vertigo was out and all that where, that song annoyed the fuck out of people.
Yeah.
So people immediately made fun of him
Yeah.
for that because there's a piece
And
of
then
Bono that takes himself too serious.
Yeah, and then there was that whole thing. Even back when Vertigo came out, it was the whole thing. They had their own iPod. You remember that?
Yeah.
And it was on commercials and stuff, and it was like being shoved down your throat. And you're like,
yeah.
Who is U2 to do this?
Yeah. Exactly. So they're very corporate.
Yeah.
And whether you're corporate or not, it feels weird to be bragging about it that you're this corporate when you're talking about let's save the world, let's save the world, let's save the world all the time.
Moving on to the next band, Dream Theater.
Dream Theater.
Progressive metal band from the 90s and the 2000s. Connor and I, in high school, we got into them a little bit. Connor was into James LaBrie, the singer. Thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yep.
But as we've grown older, we can't even listen to Dream Theater without laughing in tears. It just sounds so cheesy and produced and epic and majestic. It sounds like a band like Dream Theater. It just sounds like what it is, but it sounds so cheesy now, and I don't know why I didn't think that when I was younger.
Well, you can't deny that these guys are extremely talented musicians.
100%.
And there's always been the argument that the musicians were more talented than James LaBrie, the singer. A lot of people are a fan of Dream Theater, but only listen to their instrumentals.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of those. But yeah, there's just like there are like 5 albums that have really good moments on them, and there's Train of Thought's a fantastic record. And
Connor and I actually listened to it a bit of. We listened to This Dying Soul and Endless Sacrifice, which are great songs from that album.
Yeah.
Great instrumentation and stuff, but then once James LaBrie starts singing, we kind of start laughing, like I said.
It's weird because it is... I loved Dream Theater at one point, and now I can't. Like, if it came on and it was a song I loved, I would still like one of my buddies put it on, I'd be like, sweet, cool. But I'll never put it on.
No,
I don't put it on anymore, and it definitely. I'm one of those people that when I fall in love with a band, they usually stick around for some time.
Yeah, or
like forever. Like I still love the bands I fell in love with when I was 13.
I'm like that with AC/DC. First band I ever loved. Can't stand them now.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so Dream Theater, over the top. It's just a great example of sometimes being overly technical and see how fast you can solo and let's stretch the song out for 20 minutes and
It it
sometimes
gets redundant.
yeah, sometimes it's just not for me. And to be honest, over the years as I gotten older, it isn't for me.
No,
I
that
do like I do like I do like solos that more like David Gilmour than I
yeah.
do a shredding solo. And
I feel the exact same way, man.
yeah, so Dream Theater's definitely a hated band, even in the metal community, and mainly because of James LaBrie.
Yes.
Because the rest of the guys are super talented. James LaBrie still is talented, but he has become kind of silly. And,
Yes,
you know,
and you might notice a trend on this list because a lot of the people don't like them just because of the singer's voice.
and that's a big part of music. If you do have a lead singer, like the end of the day, especially if
Yeah,
you're
you got to connect somehow
to
with
the
the
singer.
singer.
If you're not a lyrics person, then that's cool, but you have to enjoy the main part going throughout the whole song, right? So,
For sure. So, Dream Theater, we definitely don't like them. That's the consensus. Next band we're going to talk about, I'm not even sure why we're talking about them, but
because it's fucking hilarious.
the Black Eyed Peas. You guys remember the Black Eyed Peas, obviously. How they became like super successful and huge, and then they just kind of fell off the face of the earth after that terrible Super Bowl performance.
Oh god, I always say it looks like a shitty workout video because they're like just jumping up. Come on, come on, come on, come on! Like just pump up.
Yeah.
All four members are pump up members. Like they're what do they call them? What are those people that like?
Will I Am?
No, what are used to like pump up the shows?
I don't know.
USS has a member that does that. He's like the DJ, but he's also like the pump up guy. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is that all members at that performance looked like their job was to just pump up the crowd instead of actually play a performance, and it was terrible. But anyways, they are so over the top and catchy. They
Yeah.
are. That's why they fucking got big. They are the catchiest fucking band you've ever heard, and I'm not kidding. It gets stuck in your head. I got a feeling.
Yeah.
That shit gets stuck in your head for days.
Yeah.
They'll never like if they fall off the face
My
of the earth.
humps.
My humps.
I liked Fergie when she came out with some solo stuff.
Really?
Fergalicious.
No, I'm not a fan. I'm gonna say no to that too. Like she's got a great voice. She's talented, but it's not my cup of tea.
Big
And
Girls Don't Cry.
oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that
okay.
was pretty good, actually. But yeah, fucking, I can't stand the Black Eyed Peas.
So we definitely hate them.
Yes, and they are hated.
Yes.
They are loved to an extent, but it almost feels like music your old moms and your old aunts are going to the club and listening to. Like
At
it's
the
their way
bachelor
of
party.
yeah, it's their way of getting out there and getting dirty, and it just doesnn't feel like I feel like a dick. I know, but it just sounds
It's
like
not-
shit.
It does. It's terrible music. We don't like the Black Eyed Peas. Fuck them. The next thing we want to talk about is the lack of originality with rock bands on Canadian radio. Seems like every new band that comes out either sounds like the Black Keys or Mumford and Sons, and it's just very formulaic. Nothing really new to bring to the table, and it needs to change. How do you feel about this?
I don't always feel like it's the artists themselves either. In fact, it isn't. Like we've been told, we know people that are like doing well in the business and stuff like that, and there is guidelines, and in order to once you sign a contract, like you're signing on to things about like this is how we want it. 3-minute songs. Too bad. They need to
We
be
need
hits.
a radio single.
I want the songs to the reason why I feel like sometimes the reason the albums sound the same, like the whole album sounds like that one hit that's on the radio.
Yeah.
That's a part of it. Like we don't have Alexis on Fire anymore,
No.
which sucks because I really liked Alexis on Fire was a fucking sweet rock band that even when they put out their last album, it was like the songs that became hits were pretty damn good. Young
Yeah.
Cardinals was a great song. Not better album than Crisis, but now you don't have that. Billy Talent, credit to them, but I'm not a fan of their new stuff at all. I only like
No.
their first record. So the Canadian bands I grew up liking, I'm not hearing anything new from them.
No, it's safe.
So
like
you
we
got
said.
Bieber, obviously. You got Drake. There's that Banners. Have you heard of Banners? They're much like Mumford and Sons.
No. But
Yes.
then you got your like monster truck and your uh, bands, sheepdogs,
Yeah.
stuff like that, with that garage rock sound. It's just overplayed to death, and it's like those bands are actually good. Like the sheepdogs and monster truck came to Oshawa, like Durham campus,
Yeah.
rocking bands, man.
Yeah.
But just their songs get played to death on the radio, and it's just this they're not good songs necessarily. They're
Yeah.
just
Well,
radio.
that's the thing, though. Everyone can listen. Us being like this, you obviously can argue us and say that's just your fucking stupid opinion. Of course, just like we could say back to you. But this is just a struggle that we feel like there isn't a. It's not diverse. But you know what? The radio is not. Radio isn't everything anymore.
No, and
People don't go to the radio always to
to
find out information, to
never
find out new music.
music information for sure. If they want to hear the weather or the traffic, they'll go straight to the radio. But a guy being in radio, it's very disheartening to know that there at every station there's like a playlist of only like 300 or 400 songs that you can play.
Yeah.
Which to me, that may seem like a lot, but if you're playing those same songs for a year, that's way too many repeating songs. It's like you want some diversity.
Yeah.
Even if it is a band like Monster Truck or whatever, let me hear something like a deep album cut. You know, they might have like a
I
7 minute song or something.
I think they should do more common stuff like that where they go like they have to have like certain shows on their radio stations where it's like we're gonna play their big hit right now and
Yeah.
then we're gonna play deep cut right after it.
Or there's an hour where you have to, or certain hours of the day where you have to play those songs.
Yeah.
And not every hour of the day. Like
Yeah.
now.
So and that's the thing, like it actually doesn't concern me. Like Canadian artists, not that's the thing. Canadian artists and all this safety bullshit, it doesn't actually concern me because I go on Apple Music to look for new music.
Yeah.
I go on Reddit to ask about new music
Yeah.
or look up stuff like that.
The days where you would sit down and listen to a DJ overnight and find all the deep tracks and stuff, and you know you've connected with a song. I first heard that on the way home from somewhere on the radio. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, I mean there are songs, Fantagram I found out on the radio, right? Fantagram. So like there is once in a while you do find someone.
Yes,
And that's
very
really
rarely. But
that's really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just because I feel like me and you aren't people that are up for music that's got like limits. So the radio doesn't always speak to us. The hits don't always speak to us because
exactly.
we like stuff that's a little out there and longer of songs. Like
Yeah.
we like 6 minute songs. We like
We don't like it when it's being played safe. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the music is today. So that's why we're so upset.
yeah. Ben's really upset right now. So give him some space.
Give me some space. But in all fairness, I feel like any band, whether you're rock band, pop band, whatever, you're gonna have to have some influence from your record company. You're gonna have to listen to what they have to say,
Yeah.
and there's no way around it.
Yep.
And we may sound like dicks, like, why don't you do this? Play other songs. It's like it's not that simple,
No.
and we know that. But
Yeah, like we
if-
said,
if we had it our way, this is what it would be like. But obviously, it's not. So
Yep, it's true, and that's why we are thankful for the internet and podcasts and
yes,
shit like that.
and
right?
our vinyl, our vinyl collections, all the things we have that connect us with music, because we feel like it's not. We feel like there's people out there that share the same views and beliefs and feel the same way that we do. So we like to talk about that and share the positivity, share the connection. That's one of the greatest things about doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that's all the time we have for episode 5 of the New Noise Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next week for episode number 6. Don't know what it's going to be about yet, but it's going to be good. Very good. See you next week, guys.